So I remember the day that I sat down and cried, and not a few tears, like a full breakdown on the floor. And I had done everything that I was supposed to do. I invested in courses and masterminds. I worked really hard and I tried all these different things, showed up, and I was exactly in the same place or even worse. Meanwhile, someone else I knew was succeeding and posting wins and just living the life that I dreamed of. And I thought, maybe I'm just not meant for this. Maybe some people can and I can't. And then I heard the thought that just broke my brain. Everything you know and do led you here, which means it doesn't work. And not that I'm broken, not that I can't succeed. It's just the specific things that I have been doing aren't the things that are going to get me where I want to be. So today I'm going to share with you the 7 switches that changed my trajectory, and they can change yours too. So hello everyone, let's talk about breakthroughs, and not just progress, not, oh, I'm doing a little better, but actual breakthroughs. So a breakthrough is when your trajectory changes, then the angle of your growth dramatically shifts. Like you were gaining 100 followers every month, now you're gaining 1,000. You were making $500 extra per month, now you're making 5,000 extra. And it's not just progress. That is a fundamental shift. And here's what I've noticed is that most people are working very hard, but their work is designed to maintain their current position, not to exponentially grow it. You know, they're busy, they're tired, they feel like they're doing everything. But the specific things that they're doing, they're not breakthroughs. They just maintenance actions. And there is a huge difference. And I was there, I was working very hard, and it felt like getting nowhere. And then I learned that breakthroughs don't happen by accident. They happen when you flip the specific switches, when you remove what's not working, when you actually decide and not just want something, when you build your energy deliberately, when you learn the right things, when you schedule what truly matters, and you connect with the right people. And so you get that one small win that proves that it works. So today I'm going to share with you all of these 7 switches. It's not theory. These are practical switches that you can flip today, this week. So if you're feeling stuck, if you keep like starting and stopping, if you're wondering whether this can actually work for you, this episode might be the very thing that's going to shift everything for you. So let's dive in. The first switch is counterintuitive. So growth doesn't start with adding something new. Growth starts with removing what's not working. So let me tell you about that day when I was all in tears, because I invested thousands of dollars in all these different courses, masterminds. I've tried all these different approaches and I worked very hard. And yet I still felt stuck. And worse than stuck, I was going backwards. And then meanwhile, someone I knew who was succeeding, she was posting her luxury vacations and sharing her wins. She was living the life I really wanted. And this comparison just broke me. I had this thought that I was fundamentally broken, and what some people out there could do this and I couldn't. And then I heard this thought that changed everything. Everything you know and do led you here to this exact spot, which means everything you know and do doesn't work, at least not for getting you to that next level. Which was not an insult. It was actually freedom. It meant that I was not broken. I was simply doing the things that were just leading nowhere. And I could just stop doing those things. And then the second thought was even more powerful, is that the past doesn't equal the future. So my situation was just the result of all the previous decisions I made. It wasn't who I am. It wasn't my destiny. I could make new decisions. I could take new actions. I could get new results. But first, I had to let go of everything that wasn't working. So I'm thinking about Michelle. She came to me feeling stuck. She also was working hard, posting content, trying all these different things, nothing clicking. And then I asked, what are you doing that isn't working? Then she listed 6 things, 6 projects, approaches, and habits that she knew that they're leading anywhere. Why are you still doing them? She didn't have a good answer. So momentum, hope, not wanting to waste the effort that she already invested. And then I said, what if the reason you can't move forward is because you're carrying all of this weight? So we made a list of the things that she would stop doing. And within a month, her energy, her focus, she had that for the first time. And not because she was adding something new. She simply removed the things that were draining her. So here's the question. What led you to where you are right now? And what from that list do you actually need to let go of to get to the next level? Projects that drain you, products that don't sell, social media pages that are not growing, habits that waste your time, beliefs that are limiting you, maybe even some people in your life who are holding you back. Because growth often starts with subtraction, not addiction. Then the second switch is the most important one. So if you only take this one thing from this episode, it's this. Decide. Not want, not hope, not think about it, not work on it. Decide. So I'm going to explain what I mean. So there are really 2 types of people who want to build something online. The first type, and they are watchers, observing. I'll see what happens. I'll watch what others do. I'll learn more. I'll think about it. Maybe someday I'll try something. The second type, deciders. I've decided I'm going to reach 10,000 followers this year. I've decided I'm going to get to that $5,000 a month doing this. I'm leaving my reality where this is my path. And these people, they act completely differently because watchers watch, they consume, they think, they double. Deciders made a decision and they work, they execute, they create, they fail, they adjust, they keep going. So I'm thinking about Amanda. She's someone who was choosing. Should I do content creation or coaching? Should I focus on Instagram or YouTube? Should I niche down to wellness or keep a general coaching? Should I work on this in the morning, before work, in the evening? Like all of the reasonable questions, all the valid options. But 2 years of thinking about it and choosing, 0 progress, staying in the place of indecision. And any of these choices, if she just fully committed for 2 years, that would put her further ahead than just staying in indecision. So here's what I've learned. There's actually no right choice. You don't find the right path. You decide and you create it because every option has potential. And this potential will come from your commitment, not from just this one option being perfect. So Amanda didn't need more information. She didn't need to figure out which of the paths was right. She just needed to make that decision to choose and commit and then build. And what is that real decision? One is you cut off plan B. So you're not doing any other things. You're doing this one thing and all the other options are gone. 2, you take action on this every single day. If you haven't taken action today, you haven't decided. That means you're still thinking. And then 3, you stay until it works. You don't quit when it's hard. You don't switch when the progress is slow. You go all in, you take massive action, which means you stay committed until you figure it out, until you get the result. So here's a brutal comparison. I posted a couple of reels and I'm wondering why it doesn't work for me. It would be the same as this guy. Oh, I liked a couple of her stories and I'm wondering why she doesn't want to marry me. Because that's not trying, that's not deciding, that's not being fully committed and going all in. It's sort of like testing the waters and there's no commitment. If you think about it, a man who has decided I'm going to marry her. She's going to give her attention. She's going to take her on dates. She's going to put in an effort. He's going to spend money on her, take her on trips, get her the ring. Same is here. A woman who decided, I'm going to build my online business, going to create content consistently, ask for feedback, meet people, make offers, and get clients. Keep getting out there, even when it's hard. So I'm going to tell you about the decision that I made. Then I worked at a job that I felt miserable at, and I wanted something different. And so one day I just decided, I wrote my decision. I've decided I'm going to build my income online because it's going to give me freedom. I will be able to work from home. I don't know how it's going to be, how it's going to work, but this is my path. I didn't have a vehicle. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a proof that it's going to work. But I had one thing. I had the decision. And then everything else followed from that. So here's what I want you to do right now is that you're going to write your decision. You're going to, not a goal, not a hope. You're going to write, I have decided this. I'm cutting off plan B. I'm acting on this every single day. I'm staying on it until it works. Sign it, date it. This is your commitment to yourself. Now, the next point is energy. So the third switch, your energy. So here's the truth that no one talks about. And I actually can tell within seconds, and I've talked with hundreds of people, coaching them, they're going to succeed or not. Not by their plan, not by their niche, not by their experience. It's going to be their energy. It's like your frequency. Low energy person, she's going to talk about, I'm thinking about starting my coaching business. Created some content, thinking about putting it out there, maybe try making reels. And then the high energy, high frequency woman, I'm going to build my coaching business. I don't have it all figured out, but I am obsessed. I already reached out to 20 people this week. I'm learning everything I can. I'm showing up every day. I feel like it's as good as done. So the second person actually might have even less experience, might have no plan, fewer resources, but I'm going to bet on the second person every single time because her energy is impossible to resist. And I know that eventually someone will say yes to her and someone will want to collaborate with her. Someone will want to buy from her and work with her. Energy creates opportunities. And then, of course, lack of energy totally kills them. So I'm thinking about Rachel, she wanted to build something online and she had a good plan and she actually had time. She had the skills, but energetically she was exhausted because she was working full time. She was dealing with family stress, not sleeping well. And she would try to work on her business like late at night and she would just stare at the screen, no ideas, no progress. And then I asked her, listen, before we talk about strategy, how's your energy? Like rate it 0 to 10. She said, maybe it's 4. And I said, that is the problem. Because at 4, everything is going to feel impossible. But at 8, you can actually do it. So, and what we focused on is only on her energy for the first month. Better sleep, boundaries with her energy, removing energy draining people, setting up morning routine before work, saying no to commitments that were really not essential. So her energy as a result of it went from 4 to 8. And then suddenly ideas came easily and action started just happening naturally. And she actually made more progress in 1 month than the previous 6. Now, let's talk about these 4 reservoirs of energy. And one is the physical base, obviously sleep, food, water, exercise, the basics that everyone knows about, but very few people prioritize. And all of the successful people that I know selfishly protect and focus on their state, sleeping well, eating well, taking care of your bodies, because they know you're going to perform better when you feel good. Then 2, look at your energy drains. What's currently taking your energy? Maybe it's news that you're consuming. Like you got to ask yourself, do I really need to know everything that's happening in the world right now? Is it a priority? Social media scrolling. It can be people who are draining you. It's obligations you've been avoiding. All of that's leaking energy. It could be debt. It could be, that weight. And if you don't have a plan how to deal with it. So start eliminating that. And then 3, it's going to be your state. It's going to be your mindset. And you can actually decide on your energy level. Like I know I've heard there's this guy who's gotten like millions of followers. He just dances before he makes a sales calls. And when people reject him, he just hangs up a phone and starts dancing and continues. And the reason he went viral is because people love watching someone with that kind of energy instead of like, okay, there's never no, I can't do this, I'm tired. So you got to decide, today I'm going to bring that high energy in everything that I do. It's a choice. And then, of course, meaning. When you truly, decide, I'm going to work on this, and it's really important to you, energy is going to appear. When you have your reason why, you want that freedom, you want that impact, you want this life that you're building. Motivation will come easily. So think about your energy right now, 1 to 10. If it's below 5, you got to work on the energy before you work on strategy, because strategy for your business, if you want to start online, it's not going to work unless you have the energy to execute it. And of course, focus on the right type of learning. So you can be incredibly energetic and you can do completely the wrong things. So you also need to make sure you understand that energy without direction, wasted energy. So you need specific tools, you need specific strategies, you need a process that works, things that actually are going to get you from point A to point B. And this is what I've noticed about very successful people, is that they are constantly learning. I'm always learning, not passively. So it's like if I'm driving somewhere, I'm going to listen to a podcast or a course. Or I'm going for a walk, I'm listening. I'm waiting for an appointment, I'm reading a book. I always carry a book in my purse. Taking a break, watching a lesson. I'm not scrolling on Instagram. And so this is like productive procrastination. You're still relaxing, but on purpose. You're still going for a walk, but you're learning something. So the deep dive approach is also the next one. If you are really go all in, watch all the videos, listen to all the podcasts, read all the books, enroll in a course. So if I'm learning from one, I go 100%, not surface level. I go depth. So think about, if you just go in all in with one mentor, where you're going to be in a few months from now. If you absorbed everything they've created, it's going to change everything. And of course, for me, I learned the best time to learn is in the morning. So prioritize was 30 minutes. When your brain is fresh, when it's not stuck, you start your day with momentum. You tell the world what really matters, even if you're working full time. If you just wake up 30 minutes earlier and you learn, think about it. That's 15 hours of focused education a month. That's over 180 hours in a year. And that's way more than most people invest into their growth in their lifetime. So take the action now. Create the learning plan. Decide, what will you study? Who will you study with? How long? Make it super specific and put it in your calendar. Because I strongly believe if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. It only happens when you schedule it. Now, the fifth switch is scheduling. And this could be the most practical one, because here is the truth that change how I operate. So you can only do something at a specific times on a specific day. So if you just say, I want to exercise, well, nothing happens. But if I decide, for example, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, swimming pool, 7 a.m., consistency, very specific. If you say, I want to work on starting my online business, sporadic effort. But if you say Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m., I work on my online business, you're going to see progress. And again, if you don't put it in your calendar, most likely it's not going to happen. And I've heard this insight that hit me so hard. Lack of time always means lack of priority. Think about, if you have a tooth that hurts and so badly that you're actually going to find the time to go to the dentist. But if it doesn't hurt, maybe you can go for 6 months without visiting a dentist. So we'll always make time for what's important to us, what we prioritize. And the honest translation then, instead of saying, I don't have time for this, well, just start saying, this is not a priority for me right now, and just be honest with yourself. And then ask, does it feel true? If it feels wrong, well, if this should be your priority, then you need to tell yourself the truth and put it in your calendar. And so there's another thing about the truth of what it actually takes us to be productive. And it's about 4 hours per day. So we work in blocks. And I would say, do your block in the morning, block at lunchtime, block in the evening when you work on your business, and then block during the weekend. And that's if you have full-time job. So dedicate those blocks to creating your breakthrough, where you're not scrolling, you're not just relaxing, which is maybe just watching Netflix. You actually do what matters. And again, one block per day, 5 days a week, that's 7 to 10 hours. And that's enough time to focus on building your dream. So I'll tell you a story of Jennifer, who said, I don't have time for my business. And then I asked her, okay, let's track your phone usage for a week. 3+ hours a day on social media, entertainment, random browsing, like online shopping. And again, no judging, but we all do that. But think about it, that's over 20 hours a week. And what if, that time became focused work time? So what she did is then she completely changed how she used her time and rearranged her schedule. And she started learning first thing in the morning and working on her business. Not because suddenly she had more time. She just started prioritizing differently. So the action for you is that create that weekly schedule. Think about when specifically are you going to work on creating your breakthrough, and put it in your calendar and protect it like you would honor a doctor's appointment. Now, the sixth switch now is people. So here's the truth. From my experience, all my opportunities came through people. You can work incredibly hard all alone at home, never meeting anyone, and you're going to grow very, very slowly. Or you can connect with people and you're going to see like doors opening in front of you. So every major breakthrough, every amazing result I had is because I met someone and I connected to them. And it's everything. It's from getting a Dean Scholarship at NYU when I met a director of admissions for an informational interview. And that was worth close to $70,000. And someone who became my client, who I connected with through a meetup, my first coaching client that changed everything for me. So let me tell you about Amanda, who was building at home in isolation, making very little progress. And she was just creating content. And I said, if you just put that energy that you put into creating content, into meeting people, your whole business is going to change. She started going to networking events. She started having coffee chats. She started joining communities. Within 3 months, she created a collaboration that landed her new clients and helped her grow her list. And that was the biggest breakthroughs. Again, none of that came from just creating more content. It was doing something completely different. It came from people. So the formula is that your environment plus your thoughts plus your actions is going to get your life to that next level. And your environment is the foundation. You gotta surround yourself with people who support your vision. And then you change your thoughts, your actions change. And then your actions change, of course, your results change. So these miracles, these breakthroughs are not gonna be random. And when something amazing, suddenly happens, like this great client appears, with partnership forms, and opportunity arrives, you can always trace it. You can always look back and you're going to see it was this interaction. It was this meeting someone. It's someone you helped. It's someone you connected with. Someone who remembered you. And social capital is important as your financial capital. So every person every person in your phone right now, they all can add value to a relationship. And someone right now in your life will bring you opportunities worth of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. So begin with this connections. Make time for people. Everything you want will come through relationships. So how will you connect with people this week? Is it going to be business breakfast, coffee chat? You're going to join an online community. You're going to DM to a person you admire. You're going to reach out to potential partners for collaboration. You're going to go to a meetup group. So make it very specific and schedule it. And again, spring is perfect for this. People are open, energy is up in the air, connections happen naturally, more people going outside. Do it. Now, the seventh switch is a mini victory. There is a difference between, quitting and succeeding. And the brutal truth is about 99% of the people, they quit even before their first small win. They try something, it doesn't work out immediately, of course, but then they just assume it's not going to work, and then they move on and try something else, and they never get to that one small win. But it's so, so important for you to have it, because your brain will register, this is real, keep going. So I remember I got my, from the homework assignment, I got my coaching client, and she agreed to work with me. It was $50 a session, and I was so elated. I was like, this works. That $50 changed everything. It wasn't because of money, but it was the proof that actually someone out there is willing to pay for my coaching, needs this, and I can help them. So, and if you can make 50, guess what? You can do it again and again. You can make, the next thing you can do is 500, and then 5,000 and 50,000 and 500,000 and so on. So just think about every major expansion. If you think about your career growth, it all started with that small thing where you proved this is possible. It's, first client. People are actually willing to pay you for this. If you sold your first viral piece of content, then I had my reel that got me overnight, literally over 10,000 people. It's possible. Collaborations, when I had back in the dating relationship space, John Gray speaking at my virtual summits. I can do this. This proof that it works. So you build that confidence to keep going. You keep expanding. So think about, what is that small win you can create? Don't just think about big goals. Just start with a small win, because it's going to show you this is possible. It's like the story with Rachel, she was working on her business for a year, no real results. She was about to give up. And then I asked, okay, what is the smallest result that would prove that this can work for you? And she said, even just one person paying me, just $100. And then we just focused on that. No big launch, no getting your first 1,000 followers. No, just the first person paying $100. 3 weeks later, she had that person. And what she said is, I feel completely different. She said, it's not about the money. It's that someone I didn't know decided that my work was worth paying for it. And that means there's more people like that. So she didn't quit, and she kept building. And again, like with my own story, that first $100, you can then help 10 people, then 100, and it just exponentially grows. Just think, you can make your first $100 online. You can get your first 100 followers. We all start at zero. And when you get that micro win, and that changes everything, because it shows you can do this. And once you got this, everything changes. So let me bring it all together. So all the 7 switches. So switch 1 is let go, because growth starts with removing what's not working. So the things that got you here won't get you to your next level. Make a list and start letting go. Switch number 2 is decide. It's not about, I think about it. Decide. Cut off plan B. Act daily. Stay until it works. Write down your decision. Step number 3 is your energy. If you're at 5, well, go to bed earlier. Do something about your energy before you focus on strategy. The basics. Eliminate energy drains. Decide on what energy state you want to have and connect it to meaning. 4, learn. You gotta focus on learning. Go deep. Go and just work with one person until you get the result you want. Switch number 5 is schedule. If it's not on your calendar, most likely it's not going to happen. So put your blocks in, protect them. Lack of time simply means lack of priority. Switch number 6 is people. All of the opportunities you ever dreamed of are going to come through people. So connect, go to events, outreach. Your environment shapes absolutely everything. Switch number 7, create that micro victory. Get that one small win. It can be that first $100, that first sale. That proof matters more than anything else, than the actual number. It changes everything. And if you're listening, if you're watching, and you're feeling something shifts in you, you're realizing, okay, now is the time. You want to live in your breakthrough. You are ready to flip the switches. Then I want to invite you to my upcoming intensive, Make Your First Money Online. So this is a 3-day training where I'm going to walk you through every step. I'm going to show you exactly how to start from zero, even while you're working full-time right now, or you've been trying before to work on your online business, you haven't gotten results. You're going to see exactly how to create that first win and create that momentum. So make sure you go and register right now. It's absolutely free at the expertproducerschool.com/intensive. And again, this is where we're going to dive deep. This is going to walk you through my entire system. And I'm going to share the stories again of other women, what's possible right now, what's working right now in 2026, how to make money online, how to use AI, how to actually create a new profession, and most importantly, start living in a breakthrough where you intentionally create everything from how you feel to the skills you develop to the expertise you monetize online, because this is what we're going to be working on. So I want you to flip all the switches so that things start changing for you. Let's work on this together. And again, thank you so much for being here with me today. This time right now is so potent. I feel just the vibration, like the energy, the change of seasons, the spring is coming. This is a time to do this. And of course, if you found this episode to be valuable, please share it with a friend, someone who also has a dream, someone who wants to create their breakthrough. Let them hear that. And if you share anything online on Instagram, tag me at the Expert Producer School. And again, you're on the right path. The path that brought you here is not the path that's going to get you to the next level. It requires switching, making some switches and creating your breakthroughs. And the switches are totally in your power. They're totally in your hands. And I believe that you can, just like me, create in a state of constant breakthrough. So I'll see you at the upcoming intensive, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Bye for now.